Okay, Zellerman agents, now we're going to go over form number RE153, which is Exclusive Lease Procurement Listing Agreement. Basically, it's a lease listing agreement, and you have the exclusive right to lease the property. And that's form RE153. So we will click on it and open it up right here. Okay, and as always, we start with today's date. Make sure it's the right date. Make sure it's the right year. On all of our contracts, on the RE forms, there are the disclosures on top. We've gone over these disclosures several times before. You can always go back to form RE150 to see our explanation of the disclosures in detail. They're all the same. So we'll go ahead and scroll down here to the actual start of the listing agreement for the lease. Again, today's date, don't forget the year, between whoever owns the property, so let's say landlord 1. I hope I spell it right? Landlord 1. If there's two owners, you put both their name, and the brokerage, Zellerman. The term, how long is this for? Completely negotiable. Leases can be anywhere from 60 days to 6 months. So we'll just put today's date. It is not unusual when you go for a lease, or sometimes for a listing appointment. They don't want to start it exactly the day you're there. They want to have maybe a couple days to clean up, get the place ready. That's fine. Put the date here that the lease is actually going to start. And let's say this is going to end on October 21st, 1/4. Agents always carry a calendar with you of some type. We want to lease this property, say for $5,300 per month, with a minimum term of 12 months, and a maximum term of 2 years, right? Or it could just be they only want to do 1 year lease, so you put 12 and 12. Always remember, they have to initial each page of our contracts. Property, put Fulton County. Fill out all this property information. In fact, when you go for your lease listing appointment, all this should already be filled out. If you already know the lease rate and all of that as well, fill out everything you know beforehand. The commission is we charge 100% of the full month. Generally not a flat fee. For a price not less than, what did we say earlier? Wasn't it 5,300, correct? So we put a price here, not this, 5,300. Okay. So we will find this property owner or renter for their house at 5,300. If it's less than that, obviously we have to get their approval and to sign off. Down here, commission due broker in the event of the sale of the property shall equal to, generally on a lease we do 6% of the sales price. Don't leave blanks in the contract, just put NA where they don't apply, not up. Additional commission shall be due for the amount of the full 4 months rent for a renewal period. So are we going to charge our landlord every time this person renews the lease? Generally we don't, unless we're managing the property, and this one is not managing, so I'm going to put 0 just to renew it, okay? Now that's up to you. If you're an agent and you do a lot of leases and your landlord's willing to pay an additional 1 month or half month to renew it, by all means charge that. Especially if they want you to, enter into a new lease agreement with the tenant. That does take time and work. This is for a retainer fee, this next section here. Just like listings, are we going to charge the landlord a retainer for marketing their home? Generally not in listings. So I'll put 0 here. Excuse me, generally not in leasing. But again, it's up to the individual agent. If you have questions, see your broker. This goes into our 90-day period here, as we have discussed before. That 90 days after this is over, if we have showed the property and it's not listed with another agent, we still represent them. We are a member of FMLS. Marketing, Section 5, same as listing, this lease agreement gives us the right to put a for rent sign, gives us the right to advertise the property, gives us the right to put a lockbox on the door, if that's okay with the landlord. So this section is important. qualification of the tenant. Who's going to qualify the tenant? Are we qualifying the tenant, or is the landlord going to qualify the tenant? Generally speaking, we will do that. So we will use a third party to pull the potential tenant's credit and criminal background. Now, what is a good credit score for a tenant? There are some places that won't take less than 650. Some are more flexible. Some are 700. Some are 600. It's up to you and your landlord to decide what's a reasonable expectation of the tenant. And if you're going to take someone, say, below 650, would a higher deposit suffice? And you also need to look at what is the reason. Was it a divorce? Was it a bankruptcy several years ago? Have they been good since then? I mean, it's not always black and white. So that's the one thing we can offer our landlords, is to really sit down and look at the situation. It goes into miscellaneous rules and regulations. All this is covered over the laws of Georgia. Special stipulations, here's where you write in, for instance, no showings between certain times, or maybe you write that in a separate agreement. No lockbox on the door, or remember what I said earlier. If you are told later to put a lockbox on the door, and you have in your special stip that you're not to, make sure you amend it. Or you at least get an email from that seller, or landlord, giving you permission to do so from the email address listed in this contract. Alright, so again, we have all our information. We're going to sign. We have landlord 1. We're going to put their email. Always remember, we have to have their email address so we can send legal notification and all of their pertinent information. They're going to sign this last page, page 6 of 6, and initial every page. And congratulations, now you have a exclusive listing agreement.